Teo Fabi has shown the ability to be as fast, or maybe faster is the correct word, than any car on the racetrack most every race this year. But right now he's running a comfortable position. And Gordy, you know, it's a little similar to where he was last week in Mid-Ohio when you said, I like the race he's running.
Yes, it was. At Mid-Ohio, he was running a real steady, comfortable race. I felt that he could have been running up front a little further than he was, and he might be doing exactly the same thing today.
And here is Al Unser Jr., who apparently is still having his problems, although we may be nearing the time when we see possibly our first series of pit stops. At any rate, they are changing the rubber on the right side of the car and filling the car with fuel. Al Unser Jr. has been in the pits now for 17 seconds, and away he goes. So a 17.3-second stop.
About 200 miles, there'll be 2 stops for everybody, a minimum of 2. The normal stop between laps 35 and 40. Now, because of the problems they were having with this race car, it is possible that this was definitely one of their planned stops. They decided to take that first one early, maybe make the car go faster, and hope that they can stretch that second pit stop, or their third load of fuel, right up to the very end and finish with just 2 stops.
I think maybe that's what they were doing, Larry, because he wasn't, you know, the owner was on just a minute ago and said they weren't handling well, and I think they come in for a tire change, figuring that they could change the stagger on the car and get him handling a little bit better, hoping for a yellow, and then this wouldn't cost him anything.
We continue to watch this battle for 5th and 6th position, Teo Fabi and Kevin Kogan. We have been mentioning about the constant speeds here at Michigan International Raceway, and Larry talked with Kevin about that.
What about the constant speeds? You're at a high speed at all points in this racetrack all the way around, and that's not something really that you cut your racing teeth on, something you had to get used to after you came here.
Well, that's true. Little by little, I think I feel a little bit better every time I do it. It's something that kind of grows on you. That's why a lot of the veterans are so good still on the ovals and not quite as good on the road races. I think that it's something that you can retain. You know, it's something you acquire and retain.
Kevin Kogan from Redondo Beach, California, running in 6th position at this point with 31 laps completed. And now Kevin Kogan is dropping low on the racetrack in turn number 4 and making a pit stop. We have been told that his crew has complained, or he has complained to the crew of pushing the car. I'm sure they'll be trying to adjust that situation while they change the tires, possibly, and fuel the car here on this pit stop.
People have ducked into the pits, and they're coming in a little earlier than we expected. But again, depending upon the mileage they're getting, they can afford to stop. Matter of fact, a lot of people, including our race leader, Bobby Rahal, followed by Tom Sneva, choose to come in the pit. They're obviously betting they're getting enough fuel that they can stop early on the second stop and still finish.
So 1st and 2nd position in the pits. This is our leader, Bobby Rahal. And on the bottom of your screen, Tom Sneva, who is running in 2nd position in that Texaco Star. Crews working feverishly on their respective machines, trying to get them out first. Tom Sneva has pitted to the south of Bobby Rahal, so he is going to win the battle out of the pit area. In fact, Bobby Rahal a little bit slow in getting out. Now he's beginning to move away from the pits, but he's still very slow, and this is going to give Tom Sneva quite an advantage as they get back on the racetrack.
Yes, it is, Bob. Tom's got a big jump on him now, way big jump. Rahal was real slow in getting out. He looked like he almost killed the engine. They kept him going, but he's going to be almost a quarter of a lap behind Tom Sneva now.
So here's the leader as of now, Mario Andretti, car number 3. However, he has not made a pit stop. We anticipate his doing so very, very shortly. We're already a third of the way through this race. As we have indicated to you, it's going to be pretty much of a sprint race. That is all out. No real strategy involved in this race. It's go flat out for the entire 200 miles and hope that you're up front when the checkered flag falls.
During this flurry of pit stops, I noticed Mike Mosley coasted in, and Gordy espied somebody else limping around turn number 4.
I think it's Pancho Carter just coasting real slow in 4, but I don't believe there's going to be a yellow because he's going to make it to the end of pit lane.
So it could be a situation where Pancho ran out of fuel, the car moving very slowly. Meanwhile, several of the other cars come into the pit area, including Teo Fabi and Howdy Holmes. Also in the pit area is Bill Alsop in car number 11. Here is Teo Fabi, who is running in 2nd position. Let's go to the pit area and Gary Lee.
The problem with Teo's position was not that of a conservative run. Barry Green, the team manager, said the Skull Bandit was pushing, so they're changing the stagger on this pit stop. They've changed the outside rubber, the left rear, topped off the fuel, and Teo is underway.
Pretty good pit stop for Teo Fabi. Meanwhile, here is the driver who is leading the race, Mario Andretti, who is in for his first of two pit stops in this 200-mile event.
Gordy, the only guy who went 70 miles, which would mean 3 times 70 is 210, plenty enough to go 2 pit stops. Everybody else came in at about 60 miles. That means it might be tough.
Well, yes, I think Mario's been getting pretty good fuel mileage all year, it seems like, because it seems like he always has been, the races that I've watched anyway lately, the last 4 or 5, always has been the last one to stop on the fuel stop. So he's been getting better fuel mileage than the rest of them. There's no question about it.
Mario Andretti rolls back onto the racetrack after a 17-second pit stop. We've seen all of the leaders come in for their first series of pit stops. So now we'll go back to racing and resume our coverage from Michigan International Speedway for the first time in our event. The reason is because of a spin up in turn number 3 involving Jose Garza. There is the yellow light that's being displayed. And here's the situation. If he did not touch the wall up there in 3, he came very, very close.
I'll say he came close. Gordy,
it certainly looked like it. I thought he brushed it, not hard. You knew he didn't hit it hard, but I thought he brushed it, but evidently he didn't. They got him back in the pits, and they're changing tires on him now, because I'm certainly that they're really flat spotted, and he wouldn't last long that way.
You might also tell the fans at home what they're doing to Jose. They're not necessarily cooling him off, are they?
No, he's getting some menthol fumes in the cockpit of the car. They see him holding his hands over his eyes right now. It gets so bad sometimes that you can hardly breathe, that you just feel that you got to get out of the cockpit of the car. The wind is blowing the wrong way, and it blows the fumes right into the driver in the car.
Now here's an interesting situation, Gordy. The pace car is out on the track, and we almost had a pileup down at the entrance to the pit area as the pace car was going very slowly, and some of the cars got on the brakes real hard to prevent themselves from passing the pace car. And now we see the driver of the pace car waving the other drivers by.
Yeah, he definitely did motion them to go by, and the field is now filing by one at a time, cautiously going around the pace car, because they are well aware of the fact that once the pace car gets out on the speedway, that's the boss, and they're not allowed to pass that vehicle unless so signaled. You can see it vividly there. That's starting with the race leader, and I guess we're still showing Tom Sneva and Mario as the 2 leaders, at least Mario. Now we're showing Mario in 4th position. He was waved by the pace car.
Tom Sneva is your leader, and that's what the pace car is doing. They're passing everybody by until they catch up with Tom Sneva.
There we go.
All right, well, we have heard that perhaps Tom Sneva may be experiencing a brake problem, and there are some of the crews saying that Tom Sneva may be dropping some fluid out there on the racetrack. So we will be continuing to watch that situation as it develops.
Well, again, the reason for this caution flag was for a spin by Jose Garza between turns 3 and 4. We do not believe he touched the wall.
All right, we are under the yellow light, and we are on the radio once again with Tom Sneva, as Sneva is right behind the pace car now, shown as the leader of this race. Tom, any problems out there at this point? We understand that you may be having a brake problem with the car.
Yeah, I don't have the brakes I need out here. You know, fortunately at the track you don't use brakes at speed, but you know, I don't have much of a pedal, so it's a little apprehensive if something happens. But there's a little bit there. Other than that, the car is working fine and running good, so we'll just see what happens here.
Could that brake problem develop into something that would keep you from winning this race?
Oh, very possible. You know, I don't know for sure what it is, but it's very possible it could affect the outcome of this race.
All right, now we have heard from some of the other crews that there might be some smoke or some liquid falling from the rear of your race car. Is there any indication of that in the cockpit with you?
No, me and my rubber ducky are both dry.
All right, Tom, we'll continue to watch your progress out there.
Boy, he's really uptight, isn't he?
Okay, Mark, we need to look at this thing when it comes by, make sure everything's all right on this race car.
There's some conversation between Tom Sneva and his crew chief, Mark Bridges, telling Mark that they will definitely want to take a look at that situation as Tom comes around next time. So in the lead is Tom Sneva, running in 2nd position, car number 1, Rick Mears. In 3rd place, number 2, Bobby Rahal. The action of the Detroit News Grand Prix 200 from Michigan International's Raceway. Now, while we were away, Tom Sneva was black flag, did come in for some consultation, and there may be some problem with that car. He is at the tail of the field. We'll be watching him move up as the green flag falls once again here at Michigan. As they go into turn number 1, it is Mike Mosley doing battle with Rick Mears reverse here in turn number 2, and the black flag once again is being displayed to Tom Sneva as he comes by the cross the start-finish line, so he will have to make another pit stop.
Well, Bobby stopped under the yellow, and he was being closely observed by kart officials all the way around the racetrack, and Tom himself was running a little gingerly down the backstretch. He made no attempt to pass anybody, so he was giving everybody, including his own crew and the kart officials, an opportunity to kind of inspect that race car, and apparently they have spied something else, and the man who looked like he was going to be the one to beat today is going to be hauled back into the pits for another inspection.
All right, now Mike Mosley, who is in the middle of your screen, is a lap down. He is not on the lead lap. The leader of this race is Rick Mears. Second place is Bobby Rahal. Third place is car number 3, driven by Mario Andretti. And in fourth is Kevin Kogan in car number 6. That's the way they stack up as they race down the backstretch into turns number 3 and 4. Here comes the leader, Rick Mears, off of turn number 4, about to complete lap number 44. The average speed of the race just a little over 180 miles an hour, slowed because of the yellow caused by a spin involving Jose Garza. Tom Sneva has entered the pits once again, and it looks like that they want desperately to get him back into the race, but there looks like to be some question as to whether he will be able to. There's a close shot of Tom Sneva as he waits patiently in that Texaco Star March. Tom was the leader of this race until something happened at the rear end of the car that caused him to lose some fluid.
He has lost at least one lap. He's rolling out of the pits right now. He's drag stripping out of the pits. Tom getting a little sideways. He hears the field coming around. He wants to avoid losing the second lap, but you're going to see them on the right side of the screen. Here they come, and there they go. There goes the leader, Rick Mears, and now Sneva is down 2 laps. That's unofficial, but we think he lost 2 laps while he was sitting in the pits.
Well, Gordy, you mentioned that brakes here aren't all that important except during pit stops.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. Here, if the car's handling well, the only place you really need a brakes on the racetrack out here is if somebody spins in front of you or you got an accident or something, then you need them, and you need them coming in for your pit stop. But as far as actually out there running them, it's a lot different than like if you were Phoenix or Milwaukee, you'd have to have a lot of brakes. You couldn't run without them.
And it looks like Bobby Rahal in second position is moving up quickly on Rick Mears, the leader of our race. The cars go into turn number 1. Rick Mears with about a half-second lead, and Rick Mears has about a 5.5-second lead on third place, Mario Andretti. Down the backstretch they go. First and second position, Rick Mears and Bobby Rahal.
Now, who would be running on the racetrack directly in front of Mario? The last time by, Mario Andretti was pointing to Nick Fenoro, the kart flagman.
That's Tom Sneva again,
running directly in front of Mario.
Yeah, so he's definitely got a leaking problem, oil problem or something. You can see it when he goes by here, and it looks like something that they're not going to be able to solve.
And Nick Fenoro reaches for the black flag once again, and Sneva receives the black flag once again. So Tom Sneva continuing to have his problems out there, and he'll be coming in again for a pit stop. Leader continues to be Rick Mears. Second place is Bobby Rahal. Third, Mario Andretti. Running in fourth place, Kevin Kogan. Fifth is Teo Fabi. In sixth position is Al Unser Sr. Seventh place, car number 12, and of course driven by John Paul Jr., the winner of the 500 here. He is a lap down, so we have 6 cars on the lead lap at this point. 48 laps completed, and we're almost to the halfway point as Tom Sneva comes into the pits once again as we continue to watch the leader, Rick Mears.
And before these caution flags, Gordy, you know, the average speed was well above 190 miles an hour. And I'm going through the record book here, and I see that the record for 200 miles is held by some guy by the name of Gordon Johncock. You remember that race in 1976?
Yeah, that's when we were really running quick and had a lot of work for.
Tom Sneva is back in. Actually, he left before he was given permission by a kart official, so they black flagged him. They're making the most of this stop. They're wanting to change right side rubber as well as the left front. They're topping off the fuel in this 40-gallon alcohol fuel cell. Tom is frantically pointing to the left front, talking now to a kart official. He came sliding in. He locked up the brakes, slid actually past the point where he normally would stop. So again, there is a braking problem in car number 5. A very slow pit stop. They're checking out the rubber on the right side. The car is still up on the jacks, and now his teammate Kevin Kogan comes in. The crew was not ready, and Kevin shuts off the Cosworth. They attach the fuel hose. but apparently the day is over for Kevin Kogan. This was an unplanned, unscheduled pit stop for Kogan in car number 6. He came in, shut off the Cosworth, and right now he's talking with the crew member. The crew member is helping him to unbuckle, and Kevin Kogan is climbing out of the car. We have a fire. We have a fire on board Tom Sneva's car. We can see the flames. That would mean it's oil because the alcohol would burn without the flame. They quickly douse it with water over the back cowling of the car. Sneva seems